Online dating is dangerous? Story time. My friend Eli loves to online date, and he trusts people a little bit too much, so he'll meet whoever. And this last time he met up with somebody, things got a little crazy. So a couple of days ago, Eli started talking to this boy, and we're gonna name him Demetrius. And they only talked for a couple of minutes, but apparently the conversation was so good that they decided to meet up at 2:30 a.m. First of all, who is meeting somebody at 2:30 a.m.? Not me. So Eli drives over to the boy's house, and the whole time he feels like he's being set up, but he doesn't know why. So he figured it was just him being nervous, and he continues to go to the boy's house. And when he gets there, there's 2 cars parked out front of the house, and there seems to be people inside of them. And Eli couldn't tell for sure, but it looked like the people were watching him. But he tries to ignore it anyway. So he meets Demetrius at the front door, and they go inside. Now once he got inside, he felt really comfortable, and Demetrius seemed really nice in person. But after they got done doing what they had to do, Demetrius left the room to get something to drink. But when he came back, he had a knife in his hand. Full story on YouTube. She kissed her cousin? Story time. When I was in middle school, I had this best friend, and we're gonna name her Emma. And Emma had this huge crush on this boy who we're gonna name Ethan. And he liked her back too, so the feeling was mutual. One day during recess, me, Emma, and Ethan were all hanging out under the slide. I don't know why we were under the slide, but we were. And I was trying so hard to get them to kiss each other because I knew they liked each other. You know, they were a match made in heaven. At first, they both kept saying no, but then eventually I got Ethan to agree to do it. And since he agreed to do it, Emma also agreed to do it. So they kissed, and that was that. But when Emma went home, she told her older sister what happened, and her sister was like, "Oh, that's great, what's his name?" So Emma tells her his first and last name, and then her sister's like, "Can you describe him for me?" So she starts describing him, and the more she describes him, the more her sister is in shock. So then her sister stops her, and she's like, "Emma, Ethan is related to us. He's your cousin." I had to prove this lady wrong. Story time. Yesterday, me and my cousin went to Sephora so that way she could go get makeup. Bria Janae, I'll put her at right here. Go check her out. She's beautiful. But while we were in there, she was picking up all this makeup, so I figured I'd be nice and hold some of the items for her. Well, unfortunately, some lady came into the store with her son and her daughter. Her daughter had to be in her teenage years, but her son was like maybe 7, 8. And he sees me holding the makeup, and he comes up to me and he's like, "Oh my god, are you a boy who does makeup? That's so cool." And I was like, "No, I don't do makeup. This is actually for my cousin." But then his mom steps in, and she kind of snaps at him a little bit, and she's like, "Don't say that's cool. Makeup is not meant for boys to wear." And of course, he was sad about it. So I decided to be annoying, and I was like, "Oh, really? Because some of the brands in the store are owned by Boys and Beauty, so clearly they can wear makeup." And the little boy smiles, and his mom pulls him away. But after that, I decided to buy makeup and actually try to do my makeup for the very first time. And I put it on my second channel, Ty.Beauty. Go check it out and tell me how I did. My brother tried to kill me. Story time. Growing up, me and my brother would fight all the time, just like any other siblings, really. The only difference is he would actually try to kill me. So one day I was playing the Wii on our living room TV, and my brother comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, do you mind if I watch something really fast?" And I was being a brat, and I was like, "No, it's my turn to have the TV. Wait your turn." So then he runs and tells my mom, and my mom's like, "You have to wait your turn." And he used to have anger problems, so he got really upset. So he storms into the living room, goes behind the TV, and unplugs my game while I'm playing it. And on top of that, I was playing Mario Kart, and I was in first place too. So of course I get angry, I take the Wii controller and I throw it at him, and it hit him in the side of the neck, and he gets even madder. And I tried to run downstairs because he's scary. But right before I could take my first step down the stairs, I felt his hands go, and he pushed me down the steps. And I rolled down the steps, almost breaking my neck. And after I got done rolling, I hit my head on this tall glass window that we had at the bottom of the steps. But I'm indestructible, so I lived. We fed her mom dog food. Story time. When I was younger, me and my best friend used to make the weirdest desserts ever. And when I say weird, I mean weird. One time I mixed Doritos, chocolate ice cream, Skittles, and Sour Patch Kids all in the same bowl and ate it. Like, what was I thinking? Ugh. So anyways, one day I was at my friend's house and we were making these weird desserts. And her mom walks in on us and she's like, "What are you guys doing?" And we were like, "Oh, we're just making some desserts. You want one?" And her mom was like, "Sure. Can you make mine crunchy?" And we got all excited because no one ever wanted to try our dessert. So we were like, yes. So we grabbed a whole bunch of random ingredients, and guys, we put whipped cream, Slim Jims, Cheetos, and dog food all in one bowl. And when we gave it to her mom eats it and she's like, Cheetos and Cocoa Puffs? And my friend was like, "Mom, those aren't Cocoa Puffs." And her mom was like, "Well, whatever it is, it's really good." And she takes another bite of it. And my friend was like, "No wonder our dog is always so excited to eat." And her mom was like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "Oh, that's dog food you're eating." Her mom was so upset. She ended up passing away. Story time. So when I was in high school, I used to babysit kids. Most of the kids were really good. There was a couple of bad eggs, but there was one kid in particular that was just really bad. And we're gonna name him Cody. So one day when I was watching Cody, he threw a tantrum so he can go to the park. And eventually I gave in and I decided to take him. So when we get there, he runs off into the park and starts playing with the other kids, and I sit on a bench with an older woman. And she looked like she was in her late 80s, and we ended up talking the whole time we were there. She was super sweet and she gave me some really good advice, and I also found out her name was Miss Mary. She was like the grandmother you always wanted. So eventually Cody got done playing and he came over and tossed his bag on the bench. But when he did, his bag hit Miss Mary in the leg. So I grabbed the bag and I tell Cody to apologize, but he didn't. He actually told her to drop dead and walked away. So I apologized, said goodbye, and I left the park with Cody. Later that day, I was scrolling through Facebook and a picture of Miss Mary popped up with the words, "You will be missed" at the bottom. She died of a heart attack after we left the park. We seen a ghost? Story time. One day, me and my mom were driving out of state because we were visiting family members. And on our way there, we ended up on this really long dirt road. And we were driving on this road for about 30 minutes, but then we noticed something strange. There was a woman walking on the side of the road, but she was wearing a wedding dress. And she was walking in the same direction we were driving, so my mom was like, should we stop to make sure she's okay? Because there's not another town around here for another couple miles. And even though I said no because it was kind of creepy, my mom stopped anyway. So she pulls over next to this lady, and this lady looks really pale and really exhausted. Kinda like she's been walking forever. So my mom rolls down the window and tries to talk to the lady, but the lady just keeps walking past us like she didn't see us. So my mom gets out the car and walks up to the lady and taps her on the shoulder. And the woman stops but doesn't turn around. So my mom was like, "Are you okay?" And then this woman starts screaming like she's on fire. So my mom runs back in the car and we drive away. And when we looked behind us, she was gone, but we could still hear her screaming. I ran away from home. Story time. The beginning of 9th grade was extremely tough for me. I got bullied a whole lot, and mainly because I was different. And I was really struggling with my identity, and I had no idea who or what I wanted to be. And the bullying got so bad that I asked my mom if I could transfer high schools, but she told me no, and I had to stay there and suck it up. So I pulled myself together, and I really did try. But I was super lonely, and I felt like nobody wanted to listen to me. And then one day during gym, I changed out of my clothes and left my regular clothes in my gym locker. And then after class, I went back to my locker to change back into my regular clothes, but when I opened my locker, someone had cut up my clothes, my shirt, my pants, everything. So I had to wear my gym clothes for the rest of the day, and I got made fun of for it. And I was so hurt and confused because I didn't know why people didn't like me. And I couldn't take it anymore, so that night, I packed everything I could into a backpack, snuck out my bedroom window, and I tried to run away. The full story's on YouTube. He pooped in her bed? Story time. So I have this friend, and we're gonna name her Casey. But one day I was at Casey's house with her and her boyfriend. And we were just kind of hanging out and chilling in her room, right? Well, her boyfriend was laying in her bed, and oh my god, he kept farting the entire time. And it smelled so bad, like rotten eggs and belly button juice. It was disgusting. So I look at him and I'm like, "Are you okay?" And her boyfriend was like, "Nah, my stomach really hurts, like I'm real gassy." And then Casey was like, "Well, go to the bathroom because it's nasty." And then her boyfriend was like, "I'm fine now, I let all the gas out, I promise I won't fart again." And then Casey was like, "If you